Austenland by Shannon Hale came out in 2007 and very promptly was turned into a movie in 2013. And I'm going to cover both of them today because they're both brilliant. And I will admit, they're brilliant in kind of different ways. So the premise of the book and the premise of the movie are similar, but let's go over the book really quickly. In the book, the premise is that Jane Hayes, played in the movie by Kerry Russell, is a secret Jane Austen nut. More importantly, she's obsessed with the 1995 Colin Firth, Mr. Darcy. And the only people who know she's obsessed with them is her great aunt Caroline and her best friend, Molly. These two women know this about her, and it is interfering with her love life. Everyone else just thinks that she's a picky 30-something-year-old who hasn't found Mr. Right yet. And the reason she isn't finding Mr. Right, it turns out, is because she's comparing everyone to Mr. Darcy. So her great aunt Caroline passes away and leaves her this trip to Austenland in England. And when she gets to Austenland, she meets Mrs. Wattlesbrook, the proprietress. And Mrs. Wattlesbrook is kind of an ass about it because she knows that Jane Hayes will never be able to afford to come back. And the preferred clientele come back year after year after year, and this Austenland is very secretive. In the book, there is Mrs. Wattlesbrook, the proprietress, and there's Aunt Sophronia, who runs Austenland day to day. That doesn't exist in the movie, and we'll get to that. So anyways, Jane Hayes goes to Austenland. She becomes Jane Erstwhile, and while she's there, she goes to try and get over her obsession with the Regency men. So she goes, and she gets there, and she meets Miss Elizabeth Charming, who's another American woman who's there pretending to be in the Regency era. She's an older woman who's clearly just gone through a divorce, and who's probably in her 50s. Mind you, they're pretending to be Jane Austen characters in the Regency era looking for husbands, so they're both pretending to be 19 years old. So Jane is, 33, and in reality, Elizabeth Charming is in her 50s, and they're both pretending to be 19 years old. Then the men are actors who are played to charm these women in the Regency era, and there is Henry Nobley and Colonel Andrews. And of course, Jane, the main character, she falls in love with the gardener, who she thinks is awesome and outside of the make-believe actors, and it turns out that he's kind of a Wickham, and he is one of the actors, and that Mrs. Wattlesbrook recognizes that not all of the women can embrace the Regency era, so everyone's one of her little puppets. There is Aunt Sophronia, and she's the woman who runs Austenland day to day and runs the house, and she's awesome, and she has Jane's back. Eventually, another woman gets introduced to the house. Her name is Miss Amelia Hartright, and she kind of throws the whole entire thing for a whirl. And it turns out that she's kind of a Jane Fairfax character, and then she turns into an Anne Elliot character as they bring in Captain East. And so this book is said to be a Pride and Prejudice, enemies to lovers, but really it's all of the Austens. And if you were ever going to do a Jane Austen knockoff book club and you needed 12 books to read, I would start with this one. This would be my January recommendation because it's so much fun. It's under 200 pages to read. Yes, she gets her Mr. Darcy at the end, and it is just so much fun. This book was published in 2007, and by 2013, it was turned into a movie. And what a fun movie it gets turned into. So, Austenland, the movie. In the book, there's flashbacks to Jane's old boyfriends and why they don't work out, and all of that is not in the movie. And sadly, Aunt Sophronia is not in the movie. They combine Mrs. Wattlesbrook and Aunt Sophronia into one character, played by Jane Seymour, and it's much more just they drop Aunt Sophronia. It's fine. I love how many stuffed I should say taxidermied animals Jane Seymour is forced to carry around the set of this movie. Kerry Russell is great as Jane Hayes, and you constantly have to remind yourself that these people are expected to play characters 20 to 30 years younger than themselves, because they are playing characters who are playing characters themselves, which is just tons of fun. And J.J. Fields as Mr. Nobley is just epic because he plays Henry Tilney in Northanger Abbey. And I love that casting decision. Also, Jennifer Coolidge as Miss Charming is just hilarious. And James Callis as Colonel Andrews, when he first comes on screen, you're like, who is that? And it took me a little bit to realize why I knew who he was, and he did a great job. I think the casting of this movie is just, it's so much fun. Kerry Russell, her facial expressions are awesome, and I love how over the top they all are in a lot of this. And Jennifer Coolidge, I loved her in this. All right, movie plot, since it is vaguely different than the book. So in this version, Jane Hayes is obsessed with Jane Austen. It is a problem for her whole entire life. Her best friend Molly, she's in this version. She's like, hey, you have to go to Austenland if you decide to do this. If it's not everything it needs to be when you come back, you've got to change your life. And they kind of build it up as she pays for it herself. Everybody knows she has a problem and she's got to go fix it. They sum up a good part of the book into a 5-minute montage of all of the problems it creates for her. It's fine. It's cute. And it gets you to Austenland. And once you're in Austenland, one of the things that the book doesn't have that the movie I think does really well is it shows the gentlemen as the actors that they are, and that they have to have like time off. The book alludes to it a little bit, but the fact that they have like pool scenes where the actors are sitting there like, oh my gosh, the ridiculous things that just had to come out of my mouth, and like making phone calls and such was really quite funny. I really enjoyed it. I think that this was a really good adaptation of the book. And I also think that they do a really good job of pointing out all the adaptations to all of the other books that they're making nods to. The play is in here. That's Mansfield Park, Captain East, and Miss Hartright. That is Persuasion. Elizabeth Charming, I actually think she's kind of Sense and Sensibility in a lot of regards. If not, she also has some Jane Fairfax to her. Colonel Andrews is a nod to all the military personnel. And as much as we talk about, he's called Tom in the book, his name is Martin in the movie, being a Wickham. He's also a Campbell from Mansfield Park. There's some Northanger Abbey in it because they got J.J. Field to play Mr. Henry Nobley. And Mr. Darcy, Mr. Tilney, they have some really strong ties to each other. And there's definitely some Emma in Mrs. Wattlesbrook. You know, I'm just going to pair you all up and you're going to be able to do it because I'm the mastermind of all of this. And so to say that this is just a Pride and Prejudice knockoff or rewrite, I think oversimplifies it. Bottom line, whether you watch the movie or read the book or both, I think that they are both brilliantly done. They are both a ton of fun. There is a sequel to Austenland. It's called Midnight in Austenland, and it is a knockoff of Northanger Abbey, and it's super fun as well. I do recommend it. It is a gothic, as in it's a murder mystery. It is not nearly as light and fun as Austenland. It is very much a darker book, but I do recommend that as well. If you do enjoy Austenland, I would recommend Midnight in Austenland. So as always, read it, don't read it, but please read something. Let me know if there are other Jane Austen knockoffs specifically you would like to see me cover.